Not many people know that one can travel from China to Europe by train. The international train, which has been running between Beijing and Moscow since the late 1940s, offers travelers not only an alternative mode of transport, but also a unique way of enjoying the changing sceneries and cultures across the continents.
Chairman Mao Zedong visited the Soviet Union in 1949 by train. The train journey took 10 days for him to reach Moscow, where he attended Joseph Stalin's 70th birthday celebrations. The train passed by Shenyang, Harbin and Manzhouli before reaching Moscow. With the change of times, the more modern trains now have reduced and shortened the journey by half. Now, I'm gonna take this train to Ulaanbaatar.
This is the second railway route between Beijing and Moscow, with a stopover at the Mongolian capital of Ulaanbaatar, introduced in 1960 after the one used by Chairman Mao. This train travels via Datong, Irenhot, Zaminwood and Ulan-Ude cities before connecting to the Trans-Siberia line, which eventually gets to Moscow. The entire journey takes 6 days, 5 nights, 2 days shorter than the previous line. Instead of Moscow, I will visit Ulaanbaatar, and the ride takes slightly more than 24 hours.
I'm now on board the train to Ulaanbaatar. Many passengers, especially foreign travelers, are taking this train, and I would say this is quite a decent train. As you can see, there are 4 beds in a cabin. This is my bed over here. It has a blanket, a pillow, and a thermal flask where you can pour your hot water inside.
There are other choices too, such as the soft sleeper and deluxe sleeper for 2. The deluxe sleeper is attached with its own lavatory and shower. Passengers opting for the standard hard and soft sleepers will need to share the toilet on each carriage. Hot water from a coal burner is also provided. Breakfast, lunch and dinner are served on board the train, and after 8 hours of ride, it's time for a hearty Chinese meal.
This is the dining area of the train, and I'm now having my dinner consisting of 2 dishes and a soup. This is a chicken with mushroom dish, and this is a celery dish, as well as a tomato and egg soup.
There are so much to see and do on board the train. Hilly landscape and low-rise buildings dot the gorgeous views. Most of the passengers are Mongolians and Europeans, and only some are Chinese. There is always a chance for a good chat with some of them. I decided to stop over at Irenhot for the night, as I have heard a lot about this small town. Located at the border of Mongolia and the Inner Mongolia Autonomous Region in China, Irenhot, or Elian in Chinese, has a population of less than 100,000. The city is an important gateway for raw materials such as coal, gold and timber. Its economy depends very much on the bilateral trade between China and Mongolia. In Irenhot, one can visit the dinosaur park, where dinosaur fossils were found. Archaeologists believe that dinosaurs existed in the area some 70 million years ago. Here, one can also learn about the history of the city at the Yilin Post Station Museum. According to historical records, Irenhot was once a post station during the Qing dynasty and one of the most important stopovers of the journey of tea from China to Eastern Europe. At the Irenhot railway station, passengers have 3 hours to kill while waiting for the change of bogies of the train. Chinese trains run on a 1435mm gauge, while Mongolia uses the 1520mm gauge. For this reason, the trains plying between both countries must have their bogies changed at the border. The train will be pulled into a workshop where the railway workers will start working. First, they unlock the hooks between the carriages to split the train, so that the bogies can be changed in sections. Then, the workers operate machines on each side to lift the carriages at the same time. The bogies are rolled off the track and replaced by another set of bogies that fit into the 1520mm gauge. The whole process takes 45 minutes. The workshop, covering 15,900 square meters, is one of the largest in Asia, and it can carry out the change of wheels for 2 trains at one time. At midnight, the train leaves Irenhot and crosses the border, heading for Ulaanbaatar. Then it arrives at Zaminwood, a town on the Mongolian side, for visa examinations. According to the train assistant, the carriage where the dining area is located will be changed to one run by the Mongolian chefs. Here, the carriage is decorated with moronho, a traditional Mongolian music instrument, arrows, and anything Mongolian. Western breakfast is served, and if you have only US dollars or Chinese renminbi to pay the bill, that's fine. The waiter accepts both currencies. I meet these 2 British passengers who share with me their adventure from England to China.
Yes, it will cross the border sometime in the middle of the night. We'll be in Ulaanbaatar at 7:30 local time. And we'll stay there for 2 days. Then take another train to Yekaterinburg, and we'll stay there for just 1 day, so without one night, just whole day. And then in the night, at the end of the day, we'll take a train which will take us all the way to St. Petersburg.
We left London on the 31st of March, and we actually get back home on the 7th of May. But we were in Moscow by the 2nd of April.
In the morning.
And that's where we really think the journey began, because
we know Europe.
Do you guys travel like that quite often?
No, this is the journey of a lifetime for me.
I see.
It's something I've wanted to do since I was a teenager.
Oh, okay. So far your trip, is it okay so far?
absolutely wonderful.
Yes?
Absolutely wonderful. The whole thing.
You saw much of the sceneries, or you saw much of the people? And
We've both had Kindles, and I haven't even read a book yet because you can't read. There's too much to do and too much to look at out of the windows, because we wanted to talk to people on the journey, and we've had some success.
the train travels some 800 kilometers, cruising past the Gobi Desert. It stops at the Mongolian cities of Shanda and Choyr. The passengers are lucky to be greeted by a morning snow en route our journey to Ulaanbaatar. Finally, I arrived at Ulaanbaatar in the afternoon, ending my amazing train ride. After a 30-minute interval, the same train proceeds to Moscow. As the capital of Mongolia, Ulaanbaatar is the largest city of all, with more than 60% of the country's population living here.
This is the place where you start with when you arrive at Ulaanbaatar. And this is the man that you must know. His name is Damdin Subakta, who is regarded as the hero of revolution by the people of Mongolia.
The monument of Subakta astride his horse was erected in 2008 at the Subakta Square, named after the commander-in-chief for his struggle in the 1921 revolution that led to Mongolia's independence from China. 68 years later, the square was the venue of the first democratic protest, which eventually saw the fall of communism. To the north of the monument is the government house, where one can find the statue of Genghis Khan, the man who started it all for Mongolia in the 13th century. The architecture of the buildings in the city are strongly influenced by the Soviets, who once had tens of thousands of military troops based in Mongolia in the 80s. Another tourist attraction not to be missed is the Winter Palace of the Bog Khan, who is Mongolia's last monarch. The Bog Khan was the third most important leader in the Tibetan Buddhism hierarchy, after the Dalai and Panchen Lamas. On display at the Winter Palace Museum are many of the Khan's possessions, such as his throne and bed. The Gandang Monastery is the most popular temple, built some 180 years ago. It remains as an important place of worship for Buddhist devotees until now. I'm only halfway through the journey to Europe. Perhaps I will continue with my adventure to Russia and beyond in the very near future.